Hello everyone, it's Malcolm Peralta here from Press Titan, and we're gonna answer some more WordPress questions. We're gonna go over a few things. As you can see, I'm repping this Lifter LMS shirt. So one of the things we're going to do today is look through Lifter LMS on one of the client installs that I have been working on, just to kind of give you a little bit of understanding of the various things that I've done to kind of get it working. If you can hear a little like whiz and whir in the background, I don't own any Star Wars droids. That's my 3D printer. It's printing face mask components for the health centers here where I live. So sorry about the background noise, but it's for good cause. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the live chat or leave them in the comments for the previous episode, and I will go through them and we'll do our best to answer them. The other day when I was going through some of the questions that I answered on the WordPress support forums, it looked like a lot of people got their problems resolved, which is great. That makes me super happy. And hopefully we'll have a chance today to do a little bit more of that. So if you have any questions, always feel free to let me know. I'm really enjoying doing these and kind of going through and really honing my WordPress skills once again. All right, so on the screen here, this is not a Lifter LMS website. This is Press Titan's website. And I hope that you'll all go and check it out and read through it and get an understanding of what we do. And hopefully if you or someone you know could use our services, you can kind of point them in our direction. These are trying times, so it's always hard to find new clients and customers during these kinds of periods of time when everyone's kind of being very careful with their budgets. So let's go ahead and close that down. And we're in the back end of one of my client sites, 1 Million Teachers. They have a LMS system using Lifter LMS, and they're using Learning Locker. And the reason that they're using Learning Locker is because they need an LRS, a learning record system. Why do they need an LRS? Typically, you don't need one with Lifter LMS. If all of your content is going to be like videos and like uploaded Word documents and like some PowerPoint presentations or just regular like pages in WordPress, you don't need an LRS, which is great. Because adding an LRS adds a layer of complexity, and that is a little less than fun. The reason that they had to add that, though, is because all of their content was originally done in SCORM, which was an educational format. And now they've changed it to tincan/XAPI. And so that means, let me just mute that for a little bit. So that means that it's all packaged in a very special way and not in a format that Lifter LMS typically handles. So we've had to use an add-on to be able to do that. And that add-on is from Dennis Hall. And you can find that through the Lifter LMS website. And it was pretty useful in helping me out here. For those of you that haven't seen Lifter LMS before, here is the kind of like the student reporting page. Gives you an idea of how they're doing and how many people you have doing what. And again, it has like a whole sales integration that you can kind of work through and gives you all these different membership options. Very helpful. Their labs and add-ons are just amazing. I definitely recommend checking them out. You have advanced quizzes and assignments and videos and custom fields, private areas, like all the payment gateways, all the data collection ones. You can integrate it with Gravity Forms, which is something that we've done, which is just amazing. Hello, Nigel. How are you doing today? And it can kind of get a little bit expensive, right? If you're comparing it to something like Moodle for sharing learning content. But they do have I think a free version, and they have a lot of competitors with different pricing with some similar features. So you have to find the right learning management system for you. And online learning is becoming super popular right now for some strange reason. Could it be that we're all stuck at home? Yeah, that's why. So if you're using a horrible learning management system through your work or your school or what have you, maybe check out Lifter LMS and see if it's for you. So as I was saying, we're using XAPI content or tin can content, and there's hundreds of pieces of content on here. It's just crazy how many pieces of content are on here. And they're all kind of like slideshows. Let me go into one right now. And so you can see it here. This is an embed of that piece of content. And if I click
Teachers
play,
as leaders in a changing
there's audio,
world.
which is
Your
great.
guides through this course. Before you move on,
Hello, I'm Jaden, and I'll be guiding you through the first module of Teachers as Leaders in a Changing World. As a teacher, you are a leader for your students. By the end of this course,
right? And so as you go through it, you mark all these different pieces of content complete. The cool thing about the way that the X API works is that when you get to the end of the PowerPoint presentation, or not PowerPoint, it's actually like it's kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, but it's done kind of in this HTML5 video form, kind of. Once you get to the end, then you're able to mark it complete. And as you can see, I've done all the ones on here. There are other lessons that I haven't done. It has all of the different slides. It has some notes, so you can read through some of the audio text as well. It's pretty slick. I like having the X API content, the tin can content with Lifter LMS. There's a lot you can do with that. Like I said, it's a little bit kludgy, a little annoying, right? For each one of these, I had to go through and manually upload them to this tool, this add-on. And then I had to create a lesson and add it into the lesson. And then I had to take each lesson and add it to a course. And so when you're talking about, hundreds upon hundreds of lessons and everything, it can be really time consuming. So for example, I think in Pink Belt, right, there's brain spouting, and I had to add each one of these independently, one at a time. And there's no fast way to do this, unfortunately, at this time, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, that can be a little bit rough. And then I also added it in twice, right? So I added not only the embed on the page, but I also added a full screen mode, which is for mobile and other responsive browsers, but you can use it on your desktop as well because full screen is sometimes nice. And you can see here,
hello,
boom,
I'm Jaden.
Full screen mode. Makes it a lot easier to read the notes and kind of interact with the slides. The cool thing is the slides even have quizzes that you can actually interact with, matching puzzles, fill in the blank, choose which one is the right answer, those kinds of things. So all of that exists with this as well. It's being exported through Articulate, which is a learning content creation tool. It's like a PowerPoint on boosted with all this LMS stuff. So that's how we did that. If you have any questions about Lifter LMS, please let me know. We're listed on the Lifter LMS experts page, and I really enjoyed working on this project. As tedious as some of this stuff was, it was really interesting to see it actually be used by people, right? Thousands of people are going through this content and learning every day. 1 Million Teachers is a great project. If you have a chance, I highly recommend checking them out. They are attempting to train teachers in third world countries, specifically West Africa right now, but really all of Africa and really all of the world where this is an issue. And they've really kind of found a need here where UNESCO is mentioning that they need 17 million more primary and secondary teachers in classrooms by 2030. That's 10 years from now. That's a lot of teachers. So they're trying to help with that kind of training, and they have a backing from Queen's University, which is a well-known, prestigious university here in Canada. But enough of that. Unless we come across some Lifter questions, we're going to move on. So let's see what the no replies list has for us today, unless anyone has any questions, and let's start going through it and seeing how we can help people. Off-canvas menu closing after clicking on an item. That makes sense to me. Oh, these are the older ones. Let's move up a little bit here. Cannot update plugins. There we go. Oh, for those of you that don't know, big thing happened the other day. WordPress 5.4 Adderley came out. Before you update, I highly recommend creating a staging site to be able to test this update, as there are some potential breaking issues. They have changed the way Gutenberg kind of looks and works as well, which I think is going to be very frustrating for some people who haven't really figured out Gutenberg already. So going back to Lifter LMS, Nigel asks, after uploading LMS content, I'd want a certificate for each course. Yeah, I think I deserve a certificate for uploading all of that content for sure. There is a great certificate system built into Lifter LMS, so as these teachers complete their content, they are getting certificates for each one. They also get little badges for their user profiles. And one of the really interesting things, or one of the cool things in my opinion, is the African community that has already joined the 1 Million Teachers LMS are very good at communicating. They love talking to each other in comments and communicating and writing notes and all of that stuff. So we get a lot of feedback on how they're doing and get to see them interacting with each other and comparing notes, right? Like, hey, I got, my yellow belt badge already and certificate. Did you? And right, you get to watch the schools compete. It's great. So going back to this, Gutenberg, big changes in kind of how it looks and how it works. Some people have been having issues on moving blocks around. Some people have been having issues with regards to it being full screen by default. It's going to take a little bit of a learning curve like always. They've added in some gradients for colors and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. They've added new blocks. So 5.4 is a pretty big update, and I recommend testing it on a staging environment first if you can. If you can't, make sure you back up. Back up your website, update it, test to make sure things are working as you expect. So create a new post or page. You can keep it as draft. You don't have to publish it live, but just make sure everything's kind of working the way you expect it to, and then you can kind of move forward. But if it doesn't work, you can roll back and then address it from there. And don't forget to contact your web host if you need help. Everyone comes right to the support forums, and while there's a lot of great people volunteering their time here, and there's a lot of great people that are getting paid to be here, it's not enough to necessarily manage all of the things that are happening in the community. So, weirdest error ever occurs whenever attempt to upgrade client's plugin. See error message below. Every extension. Would something like a database server help? I upgraded PHP. Any thoughts? But you don't say which kind of PHP. Interesting. So from the little bit that we can see from this code, we actually don't really have what we need to be able to troubleshoot this issue. I'm not logged in? Oh. Guys, I'm not logged in. Alright, and we'll just move that over here, and we'll get logged in. This isn't one of those situations where you can all tell what password I'm typing in based on the noises of my keyboard or something. I've seen so many video game streamers be worried about that kind of stuff. So Steven Stern says, there is now a plugin to disable the full screen editor in a persistent way. We shouldn't need a plugin for that. I mean, I think you can even just add something to your functions.php file that stops it, if I remember correctly. But it should not have been a mandatory change. I think they should have guided users on how to enable full screen mode rather than make it full screen by default. And I kind of get why they did, right? Like when I run some of the sites and help content editors edit their sites, and they have like Yoast SEO, and they have like custom fields, and they have all these other things. The actual publishing window for Gutenberg is like this little, like, I can just see the title, and I can't see any of the actual text, and I have to disable all those or minimize them, and it's a real pain because you don't have the screen real estate to deal with all these added things. So I kind of get why they did it. I just think it was in bad form to do it the way that they did it last minute. That's personal opinion. All right, so yeah, I don't think we have the information here to really help this person because it got cut off, right? And a lot of this is just some JavaScript being shown, and they didn't post... Oh, page I need help with. They didn't post everything we need to really figure it out. So here their website's working fine. Whenever I upgrade a client plugin, I mean, the instructions on how to resolve this are really the same for any situation, right? You have to figure out which plugin it is that's causing it. It's likely not all of them, right? It doesn't tell us which plugin that they were having an issue with. They ask about a database server, so they must have heard, like, either they have a little bit of technical knowledge or they've heard someone talking about having a database server before. Likely, if you're running WordPress, you already have a database server. It's likely installed in the same place as you're hosting the site from. Certainly not the fastest website ever, right? It could be that updating the plugin times out. There's lots of things there. Oh, it did finally get to the login page. All right, that's good. What's the actual plugin called? Health check and troubleshooting. There, if anyone that's here, do you know of a good plugin that shows like the WP error logs nicely? I mean, yes, you can kind of get it to push the errors on screen so that they're there as soon as it happens, but ideally you have it logged to a file and then you go and read that file so that you're not interrupting a user experience. And again, don't forget to contact your web host about this. If you're paying a web host, you likely have support. They might not be able to do all kinds of things with WordPress, but they should be able to look at logs and point you in the right direction. And though I have had hosts where they haven't really been able to do that, that to me is a sure sign. If you have any value in the website you're hosting and they can't support it, it might be time to look for something else. I'm going to keep this tab open because the health check and troubleshooting plugin is actually pretty darn good. All right. Unexpected, delete, calendar, white space, default filters. Want to insert the site's logo in my top nav bar. See, this kind of issue is related to the theme, and let's see what they say. Hello, new user here, and apologize if this has been asked before. It's been asked a few times. Just a few times. I tried to hunt for the answer and found several posts. However, none of the ones I found seem to address what I'm trying to do, or I started to get overwhelmed with some of the more advanced plugins. I feel like it should be very simple. All I want to do is add the site's logo into the nav bar. I don't want it to be clickable or replace any item in the menu. I just want something interesting there to use up some of the empty space at the top. Example image here and page I need help with here. I get so nervous opening these pages. Okay, that doesn't seem like it'd be bad. He's like, I just want it here. Why is my logo not here? Aw, this poor guy. He's using Beaver Builder too, so does Beaver Builder allow you to edit the headers of your pages yet? I know Divi does, I know Elementor does. Does Beaver Builder? Beaver Builder edit header. No, but seriously though. The Beaver Themer plugin is an add-on to the Beaver Builder plugin that could be used to create layouts in just about every area of the page besides the content area. So maybe they should try that. Come back, where are you? Okay. Right, it's called Beaver Themer as well. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Themes. I should always have like a WordPress install open. Right, because I'm always trying to figure out the exact instructions. So appearance, customize is what I want. Like typically, right, you'll have like site identity and like this logo thing here, right? All right. I think that's good enough. I think that points them in the right direction. What theme is this, by the way? I should have checked that earlier. Am I just blind? I know they have the auto-optimize plugin on, so then that potentially will mean that I will not see the URL for the theme. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter which theme it is. It's the same instructions either way. Alright. 5.3.2 install issues. I'm trying to install WordPress 5.3.2 on my server that is running PHP 7.3. Every time I get to the database connection, it does okay, but then goes to OK Sparky and then times out for some other reason. And then the install pages won't reload. I cleared the cookies and it just says the page isn't working on too many redirects. By the way, I hate redirect plugins. If you're using redirection, you're bad. Work with your host to get your redirects in place if you don't know how to edit an Htaccess file, or if you're using Nginx hosting, if you don't know how to add config files that do redirects for Nginx. Please don't use redirection plugins. I know they've gotten better in recent years. They used to be hecka slow. I don't recommend them. I just don't. And don't forget, you can contact your web host, everybody. I would love to be able to log into this person's thing and figure out what's going on. It's not really possible with how this is set up. Unless they came here and then asked. I can't read German. I'm assuming that's German. Error 500 on local LEMP installation. How to send email to email ID. You're right, editing an Htaccess file isn't user-friendly. But if you're concerned at all about performance, Russell Heimlich, you're going to want to use the options built into the thing serving up your pages. I mean, you want to go to the WordPress database as little as possible if you care about speed on your website. And I don't think that the learning curve to understand how to do an Htaccess file is so huge that, a person can't spend an hour and figure out the majority of what they're supposed to do especially if you look for YouTube tutorials. I mean, there are boundless numbers of them out there that could help you figure it out. So while it isn't user-friendly, you're not being visitor-friendly by using redirection plugins on your website. So what's more important, you taking an hour to learn how to do something that would be faster, or costing a little bit of time on each page load for your users? It's up to you. I don't use them. I recommend my clients don't use them. I help swap them out if they have them. Thankfully, redirection has the option to export, which is great. So you can maybe set up a staging environment, set up all the redirects you need, export them as an Htaccess file. Boom, right? Like there's all kinds of options. There's tools online too, right? That'll help you set up the files so that you know exactly what you're going to get and how it's going to work. So, in my opinion, no excuse. Russell says that's what Redis object caching is for. If you want to talk about something that's not quite user-friendly, Redis can be not quite user-friendly for people, but neither here nor there. I completely agree with you. Redis object caching is great. And again, I don't know how the redirection plugin plays with Redis object caching, right? You're still going to have an issue where when someone goes somewhere new, object caching doesn't save you from needing to load that redirect. Nigel, I think the issue for updating Htaccess redirects within WordPress admin, I think is more of like a concern about security issues. But if we're going to have redirection in the WordPress admin, we might as well have a tool that can edit Htaccess redirects. You'd have to be careful about how you did that in terms of security. Hello, I'm new on Nginx, don't have much experience of WordPress. And on Fedora 31 workstation, installed LEMP according to linuxtechie.com. Then I installed WordPress through the DNF install command. Blah, 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 blah. I get the file wp config already exists. Blah, 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 blah. A strange thing is that the file setup config.php and install.php are located in user share wordpress.mysite.com are not accessed as if they were cached somewhere, but clearing Firefox cache doesn't do any good, and I read that Nginx doesn't cache by default. Tried to save your ears that time. I mean, yeah, I'm not confident enough in config files to tell this person whether or not they're right, and I don't have enough information to really figure that out. So if you know how to do this, jump on in. Fiable.biz needs your help. How to send an email to email ID. I'm working in localhost. The coding below alerts as email error. How to send email to email ID. This is not a WordPress issue, I'm sorry to say. Yeah, exactly. BC Works with a Z is jumping in there to make sure he understands, like, email is such a finicky thing. If you're not using like a service outside of your hosting provider to send transactional emails, you might even be running into this issue and not know it. Sending email can be really difficult. The editor has encountered an unexpected error. I updated to the new WordPress just now, then cleared my cache and deleted minified CSS.js. And now I'm trying to add new posts by getting this message. The property of .tip of undefined. Deactivated plugins, didn't go away. Yeah, I was going to say browser cache is probably the issue. People are answering these faster than me. Unable to create new posts. Probably the same issue, right? Look at that. Nope. Similar though, right? React.js issue. After updating to 5.4, I get this error every time I try to draft a new post. I use DevTools to make sure there's no caching in place, logged out, logged back in, disabled all plugins, switch themes. Using the Stargazer theme. So they're having a conflict between their theme and the new version of WordPress, and they want to know what to do. Do we tell them that they move to a new theme? Because if it's no longer being updated, you're likely just going to have more of these issues. It's not the answer they want, but it is the right answer. And I answered it first, I think. Responsive setting not working. That's interesting. Page not loading until refreshed. I want to look at this German one too. Why not? Translate. Hello to all WordPress designers and developers. I am looking for a WordPress theme as a basis that guarantees navigation in all 4 directions. Top, bottom, right, and left that I can use as a basis for a website. Someone has already done this theme, ? Unfortunately, I was unsuccessful in the Google search and hope someone can be found here who has accidentally seen it before or used it themselves. Yeah, I should have known. As soon as I saw the ... dots, I was like, that URL looks weird. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Like, do they want like an image gallery that has like not just left and right, but top and bottom choices as well? I'm just not sure. Hi guys, I just made a new site. It was working fine until now. My site will not load properly until I hit refresh button. I've been reading up on the issue and found out that it could probably be a caching issue. I have, however, cleared cache, purged cache multiple times, and even re-imported the site with my backup. Could it just be the cache, or could it also be a plugin conflict? They have Media Cleaner, Swift Performance, Smush. I'm completely new at this, blah, 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 blah. And here's their page. It's Swift Performance, so let's just let them know. Oh, don't computer browser. Don't call it computer cache, right? Kaboom! So basically what it looks like happened is these files no longer exist when they update it or something. Yeah, see, empty. Nada. So that's the problem, is figuring out that. It's weird that they had an issue with this image. But yeah, they'll figure that out. Responsive setting. Do you have responsive settings on your website? Hi, I'm having an issue with site responsivity. Man, that was difficult for me to say. I want to do full width and full height page with anchor scrolling buttons. On my 17-foot screen, everything is fine. But when I'm when I'm taking someone else's laptop, it doesn't resize correctly. I'm using Themify Ultra, very annoying builder, do not recommend, and try to do it on Elementor, both fails. When I'm resizing page manually by cursor, everything in rows just doesn't change size. Can anyone help me with that? No, so this kind of issue, well, one, we'd need to be able to see the theme, right? And then two, we would need to understand what resolutions he's looking at, because it doesn't matter the size of the screen. The actual screen resolution is what matters. I have a 1080p TV or a 4K TV, and they could be the same size. They can both be 55 inches, but one is 4K resolution and one is 1080p resolution, and yeah, that's super important to how that content is displayed, not the size of the screen. I don't know how much I lead this person, or like, I don't want to ignore this person. They've reached out. They're trying to get some help. So probably some CSS, maybe some JavaScript. JavaScript is kind of my kryptonite, unfortunately. Let's break it here so it's easier to read. Doesn't that look so much better? I love short paragraphs. Snappy paragraphs. Holy smokes, it's already half past. Go us. Okay. Yeah, and Steve's got a great answer as well, right? If you're using a commercial product, whether it's a theme or a plugin or any kind of service, they have support channels. So unless you've downloaded it illegally, you can ask them for help. I mean, Elementor, if you have a pro license, you can get assistance there. Themify Ultra, if it's a pro theme, they'll probably have support. His web hosting company might have some support that he could use. They don't typically help with like how a website looks or is responsive, but they might know of a freelancer or someone that can help them. Maybe they have a community forum where they could post that in like an experts forum. So there's lots of options for this person. They will not be stuck. Filterable grid of audio files. I don't know about anyone else, but sometimes when I look through these, I get all kinds of ideas about like really cool plugins that could exist. Directory of former university comrades. It's called Facebook. You want Facebook. I need a website that will be used for the directory of former university comrades. I want people to fill themselves the form and store details in the database, then display it like this website. Thank you for your guidance. Lots of plugins will do that. Yeah, I mean, my recommendation would be Gravity Forms and Gravity View to pull this off. Right? It'll even allow them to do filterable stuff if they want to have filters of location, things like that. So I think that is the solution. There are a whole bunch of directory plugins that exist that you could potentially use, as long as you can find a way to collect and connect the data being submitted to the output plugin. Right? You guys all agree with me. I don't know if we're allowed to like mention premium plugins and themes in help desk thingy bobber. Yeah. Form doesn't save to database insertion -WordPress. When I add data to database manually, it shows on admin panel, but the form doesn't insert inputs to the database. How did they, what did they do there? Anyways, this is my first form trying on WordPress. I changed some names because blah, blah, blah. There's no registration on database when I click it. I'm not going to look through any of like all this stuff and try to help them out. There's so many plugins to let you insert stuff into the WordPress database to collect user data. Like, why reinvent the wheel other than you want to figure it out yourself, right? Skip. I feel bad. All right, filterable grid of audio files. I'm looking for a solution to let people filter through audio of voiceover recordings. They need to be able to filter categories like gender, language, accent, and age. Then the audio needs to be presented in a grid view with a play button on each result. Playing the audio file should be possible on the results page without opening another detail page. Interesting. Yeah, WooCommerce is not the right tool for this. Unless your next part is people purchasing that audio. How would you guys do it? You know? For me to create a filterable grid of audio files, I would use like a custom post type maybe, and use like categories and tags, and then that would give me like quasi filtering options. Though it's not super smart, unfortunately. But then you could also have the archive page, or the archive page basically, or the page that shows the results. You can have them have the template for that also have the audio file as an embed that they can play. Well, look at you. Oh, well, isn't this for WooCommerce? Or is this for anything? Oh, look at that. Use your existing archive pages, page builder, custom query. That's slick, Steven. Steven Stern with the clutch. Oh, that's neat. Oh, that feels really good. That's a good suggestion. Wow, I wish I could spell sometimes, you know? Look at that. I even made sure to credit you. Couldn't have answered that without you. The list is getting, I want to say shorter. It's not changing. All right, now we got to look at some of these ones that we haven't looked at. I'm a little nervous about. Block edit hook doesn't update upon attribute change. I was Just hoping for a very quick answer. I'm trying to extend a core block using the block edit hook. I was wondering if adding a new attribute component to the block, should the edit function be recalled upon the attribute change. As currently, the save function works just fine, but the edit function doesn't reflect the change. However, if I show HTML, the attribute change shows in the HTML option. I haven't created any blocks yet outside of using ACF to be able to do that. It's nice that they actually included a paste bin. Yeah, I have to spend some time learning this soon. I've been working with WordPress for over 16 years, and Gutenberg has been really the first time where I feel very out of my depth, because JavaScript is just something that I'm not good at, and so React and all these other different like JavaScript things are just like a little overwhelming to me. I've been trying to stick to my old way of doing things. I'll have to let someone who knows that better answer it. Unexpected delete get calendar t encapsulated encapsed and white space default filters.php. After attempted remote upgrade to core to 5.4 failed, I'm getting the following error after enabling debug. Syntax error. Unexpected delete get calendar encapsulated and white space in path blah 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 blah. Yeah, I know. Did I leave it open? Yes. Oh, no, don't go there. No, what? Oh. Yes, that's what I want. Okay. Wait. Are they able to get to the admin? What's the best way to do this? Like, if you have like 50 plugins, you're not going to rename the folders of 50 plugins. You could use FTP and drag them all down, then delete them from the live site, but that's not ideal either, right? Because you just want to disable them. I'm sure like we could walk him through various ways of trying to disable these, but what's the fastest way? Right? Right. Right. Sure. Why not? I wish I was better at this. Oh, look how few have no answers. 6 hours, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, 1 week, 1 week. Uh-oh. I probably can't answer any of these anymore. Steven, Nigel, Russell, you guys got to get in here and answer some of these ones that I'm not able to. How nice would it be to see like no topics with no new replies? That'd be so nice. I guess we go just to the forums. Everything else WordPress, and we'll just check in here real quick and see if there's anything. End of classic editor means end of metabox and other things? Question mark. End of classic editor support also means end of metabox, link pick window, and media uploader window. And my own plugin uses these things. After the end of classic editor, do I have to develop these features by myself? Well, that's an interesting question. Inserting links in Gutenberg doesn't include custom post types. What about unresolved topics? that name. I recognize that name. What the heck? You're going through and fixing all these things? Steven jumping in there, helping out. Let's look at your profile. Retired recovering CIO and corporate IT guy. Replies created 36,624. That's no small feat, man. Holy smokes. Super impressive. Member since 2011. That's 9 years almost. 9 years in 10 days from now. Right? My math is right? Don't ask me. Support team volunteer moderator. Good job. That's super impressive. Form doesn't save insertion database. Oh yeah, we already looked at this one. Yeah. Oh, I should have said that. You totally beat me to it. That's hilarious. I mean, I would recommend Gravity Forms because I used to work for Rocket Genius, but I loved Gravity Forms before I worked for them. I do like Formidable, Ninja Forms. Like, there's a whole bunch of great form plugins out there. I don't really understand why anyone would want to do it from scratch. There's even good free options. Does anyone use Contact Form 7 anymore? CF Form 7? C Form 7? I'm not sure. Unable to create new posts. Yeah, there we go. Already confirmed my theme is the culprit, but thanks for the tip on disabling things for just me. Wasn't sure of that ability. That's super important, right? Yeah, this person already knew it was their theme. They just didn't want to change themes. That's hard. That's so hard. I don't like changing themes either. Thankfully, I feel like I have a good number of themes that I like. I wish I could remember the one that my business partner was talking about the other day. That's the problem with the internet and the web and digital life. My brain is so saturated, it doesn't really hold any information anymore. I have to depend on my computer. Relinking 5.4 WordPress to existing SQL base. Why don't you? Okay, been doing daily backups. That's good. Fresh install. Hello world. Yeah. No. Why? Why did you make this so hard on yourself? I mean, if you already have a database running, so yeah, when you do the install process, it asks you for your database config stuff. That information is saved in a wp-config.php file. So they could use that file to connect to whatever database they want. Hopefully, relinking them the way that they want it to be. Unsolved mysteries. Can't access website and admin. Steve has already jumped in there. Look at this, linking us some amazing stuff. Aww, I love when people answer nicely, don't you? Back when I was working at Rocket Genius, I was doing support for Gravity Forms, and Like some of the clients that we had, there was no pleasing them, right? There was no answer that was good. And then the other ones, like all you had to say was like, "Oh, just turn it off and on again." And they were just like, "Yay, you're my savior. You're amazing." It's interesting to see how that works. Redfunchicken.com. Oh, that's sad. They scanned the folder and reset the settings and were able to open web pages, but I'm still not able. Oh, that's rough. Another option that I recommend for people is to look at something like Blog Vault. It's a great secondary tool that you could use to kind of keep your site not secure, but like just kind of ready for these kinds of things, right? You can get there, for $12 a month or whatever, or $7.40. I don't know. Anyways, you can get backups for them, and if I double check, or let's put it on the big screen for you guys to see. They have automatic malware scan at this level. They have automatic malware removal. They have unlimited malware removal. So like there's options here that can help the average user, but I think this price might be too much for the average user. Like, I mean, we're fortunate that we can, we're doing hundreds upon hundreds of sites, so it's not too much of a huge cost burden on us. It's definitely way less than $12 a month at the scales that we do it in. But yeah, I found this to be pretty helpful for those kinds of situations in the past. Even better if you have real-time backups and stuff like that. I find their backup restores to be really slow, though. So that's just something to be aware of. Steven just solving all the problems. That's great. I always wonder why people do that, though. Why volunteer for answering these questions? What do you get out of it? You're not listed on the people that are shown working on the latest version of WordPress. It's pretty thankless. When I was working at Rocket Genius, I was paid a salary. Right now, I'm working on growing my business, and this helps me stay connected to kind of the issues that are happening out there, and potentially maybe even get a new client. So for me, there's that secondary opportunity. But for normal volunteers that slog through this over and over again, year after year, I'd love to kind of understand the psychology behind that, the value in that in their own minds. A lot of people complaining about 5.4 issues, but I say a lot, but really probably a normal amount of people complaining about like a new version of WordPress. This is a major release. That sucks. He's so fast, eh? Look at that. The guy did an hour and 20 minutes, so less than 20 minutes, and boom, Steven was in there with an answer. That's great. And again, I guess I should include some of this text too when I point out the health check plugin, right? I don't think that's something that's promoted enough. Like right at the top of this, it should say like, only affects the administrator. Yeah, see, like this being right here in this middle paragraph, who like, it's done by the WordPress.org community, but I wonder who has access to control that text. Gary Pendergast, Marius, Peter Westwood, make this bold. People need to understand that this is a safe way to figure things out. I wonder what the big issues on 5.4 are for the average person. A lot of caching things have come up, but that doesn't surprise me because they made some serious changes especially on the WordPress admin side. Steven didn't jump in on this one? No, he didn't. WP rollback. Why are we rolling back? And this is why you should test on a staging site first. Wow. Wow, that's quite the jump from 5.1 to 5.4. Do you see a lot of people doing that? I get a lot of clients that don't want to upgrade, right? We walk them through why they need to and what that looks like. Transitioning people from the classic editor Gutenberg, that was a pretty big undertaking as well. There's still a lot of people in the WordPress community, like front and center in the WordPress community, that are anti-Gutenberg, and it's a shame because it's getting better and better all the time, and so you might as well stick with it, especially if you're going to keep using WordPress. If you're not going to use Gutenberg, you should move on like Classic Press or something. I don't know. Yeah. All right, we're at 2 o'clock. Let's go back to the topics with no replies. This one was added 3 minutes ago. Let's see if there's anything in there that we can understand. Nope, because it's building blocks, and I don't know how to do that yet. I'm going to have to learn. Well, it's not that I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it the WordPress way. I know how to do it the advanced custom fields way. So I'm going to have to figure that out. Thank you guys so much for coming and checking this out. I'm going to keep doing this every day for as long as I can. Just an hour at a time, answering questions, looking through some of my projects, working on some things. And I appreciate everyone that came out today. Stephen, thank you so much for the help on solving that one problem. You could have answered it yourself. But I really appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.